The following program is a paid presentation from the California Elder Law Center. The information and opinions expressed herein are solely those of the California Elder Law Center and are not the opinions of K-News, Alpha Media, management, or employees.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Elder Answers. This is the show where we get together every week and we discuss the major issues facing seniors in the United States today. Hi, everybody. This is Michael McGuire, elder law attorney with the California Elder Law Center. And there's so much is going on right now, it's a little hard to keep track and keep focused as far as what's next and what should you be doing. Well, how should you be approaching some of the issues that are facing all of us, whether it's the pandemic or the insanity going on in Washington, or maybe there's a crisis in your family. Maybe somebody in your family has been the process of needing to get serious now about planning for what's coming up ahead. Maybe it's not a crisis today, but maybe you can see the handwriting on the wall that something is just around the corner and it's not a good something. That's an issue that just about every family faces when you're talking about long-term care. There's no set date, there's no set age, there's no bright marker, there's no line that you cross. What you're facing is a process, a slow but inevitable process that as an individual ages, they become more susceptible to many, many different issues that could really lay them low and require a level of care that the family had not really anticipated. They really didn't have that intensity, and they really didn't know that it was that close and how devastating it was going to be financially and emotionally and physically to deal with a family member facing the need, the inevitable need of having long-term care, whether that long-term care is something that's taking place at home or if it's taking place in an assisted living perhaps, or independent living, or maybe in a board and care facility or a memory care facility, or maybe it's something that's a direct result of some crisis that drove that senior into a hospital, out to a rehab unit, and now it's just simply unsafe to not be in a protected environment like a nursing home. So the elder law community here in California, throughout the nation, has adopted a perspective that they call it a continuum of care. Now, a continuum of care can really start off with nothing more than a cane. It can start off with maybe a walker. It can start off with, if nothing else, being prudent and careful about the safety of your home. The idea of not having rugs on the floor in different areas that have the ability to slip and slide, and that somebody could step on them and their feet could go out from underneath them. And now we have somebody with a broken hip. Or maybe they hit their head and they got a concussion. So all those kinds of things start off with a rather benign process, usually often in the doctor's office. You're having a conversation. Something is starting to change. And we change as human beings from day one through to the last day, and there's certain proclivities start to occur. Maybe you're having trouble remembering, or maybe you're having trouble identifying where you left your car keys. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is that you're starting to have real difficulty in controlling and understanding different issues that are going around in the world around you, even if your world has shrunk dramatically. And so the process of being prepared requires you, me, all of us to take some kind of action, to become realistic about the prospects of needing that additional care somewhere down the road or maybe just around the corner, and not to be delivering the problem into the lap of somebody else. It could be your spouse, or it could be a loved one, or like a grandchild maybe, or an adult daughter, or your son. There's a myriad of different aspects to this process. And so the best way, the only way, the most sensible way is to be prepared. To be prepared to allow the people who are charged with the duty of caring for a senior to be legally empowered to do the things that are necessary. to control the quality of care, to interface effectively with financial institutions to protect this individual so that they can't be preyed upon by people who are hell-bent on stealing from them. They can't be mistreated in a facility that is charged with the duty of caring for them, but is more interested in their profits. And so all these kinds of issues start to arise. That and to be able to acquiesce and to be able to commit to the promise and the hope of being able to stay in your home as long as possible. That may require you to get care. And the people who are providing that care are people that you have to know and trust. And if you're trying to do all that kind of work in a vacuum or in crisis, you're far, far less effective. You're far, far more inept in the process of doing a quality job for you or your loved one. And so the idea of being prepared is no different than like clicking up your seatbelt. You could click that seatbelt up 10,000 times and it is absolutely useless to you except for that 10,001st time and there was a collision and it may in fact save your life. And it seems like these kinds of issues are really multiplying and, they've been exacerbated. They've been put underneath a microscope and then they have been expanded, and mostly because of the pandemic has caused us so much of a problem. The rules and the affordability, not really the affordability, but the access to the vaccine are all the direct result of different government agencies being or not being prepared to handle these kinds of issues. So now comes the question, what should you do to protect yourself? Well, it's so hard right now, but now there's been an emphasis and an exposure to the idea of let's get everybody 85 years of age on up vaccinated as quickly as possible. There's two concerns. Of course, the pandemic, even though that tends to be somewhat leveling off now, at least here in California, it still leaves us at a very dangerously high level. The other issue is that mutations of the virus itself have become more virulent, and so we have to be even more cognizant of what we have to do to protect ourselves. And it's very frustrating. Everybody understands that. Nobody is more frustrated than the Riverside County officials that are trying to provide these services to you. I can assure you of that. They're doing everything they can. They never had Pandemic 101 training. It didn't exist in their sphere of influence. But your county supervisor here in the Coachella Valley, Manny Perez, up in San Bernardino County supervisors up in the Yucca Valley area, is that these people are dedicated to the proposition of solving the problem as best as they humanly can. And they're counting on state experts to help them out. And the state is counting on the federal experts to help them out, to supply the vaccine, to get the distribution going right. Unfortunately, the initial effort to distribute vaccine doses and to have a plan in place to handle this was apparently non-existent. And so now they are reconstructing it as fast as they can. They're doing it on the fly. Somebody drew the analogy, this is like designing an automobile while you're driving it at 60 miles an hour at the same time. It's very, very difficult, but you have to remember now that your county officials are acting in good faith for your benefit. And they're trying to do everything they can. The very best, if you're confused, if you don't know, if you need to get more information, is you can dial 211, and that will route you into Riverside County information line as far as what is next and what to expect. If you're a veteran and you're enrolled in the veteran healthcare system, I would suggest that you reach out to the VA. Perhaps you'll have to go out to Loma Linda, the closest facility. I don't know if they have it here in the clinic on Hoveley or not, but you can probably start accessing your vaccination through the Veterans Administration. And so you want to use all these different tools and you want to be proactive. Don't get despondent. Don't get down. Don't quit. Be tenacious. If you have a neighbor, if you have a friend, if you have a relative who's elderly, 85 on up, you know what? pitch in and help them out. Help each other out. Some of you are really, really good at getting on the computer and going through the different screens and taking care of business. Others of you, not so much. And so for those of you that are really good at this stuff, you're experienced, you're not afraid of clicking on here and clicking on there, go ahead and do that. But do it for yourself and then do it for somebody else. You can help each other and be very powerful in that role. It doesn't take anything but a little bit of time. And it's going to be very gratifying if you're going to be the one that was able to help a neighbor or a loved one. They may need a ride over to the facility that's providing the vaccination. You could do that. You could do that. And so we need to be thinking about all the different alternatives and how we pitch in together to take care of each other and get past this next challenge, this challenge of the vaccinations, because that's where salvation resides for us. That's where this thing comes to an end, is through the vaccinations. And that's what we all have to do. We all have to be on board for each other. And that takes us to the idea that we are responsible for each other and we're responsible for ourselves. And so if you have not taken care of some of these planning issues, if you have not put in place the authorization through legal documents like a durable power of attorney or an advanced health care directive, you need to do that. Some of you are of a mind that you don't need or have the ability to pay for high-level quality type estate planning. Well, you can go on our website, www.cal-elder-law.com. That's calelderlaw.com. And those kind of documents are available for you for free. You just download them, use them. Some of them have to be notarized or witnessed, but the documents are there. Now, be aware, those are the basic legal documents. They don't have a lot of the long-term care planning issues built into them, but that's okay. It's better than nothing. And there has been a general lament among medical professionals that these documents have not been put into place, and this is your opportunity to take care of that. And it doesn't cost you a dime. We're doing it as a courtesy to the public for free.
The cost of long-term care for yourself or a loved one can be financially devastating, but you can avoid going broke. That's how the California Elder Law Center will help you. You can access long-term care benefits through the VA, Medi-Cal, and other sources. But the process of getting those benefits can be daunting. That's where attorney Mick McGuire and the California Elder Law Center come to the rescue. Whether facing a hospital stay, currently in a rehab facility, an assisted living facility, or nursing home, immediate help is available. So now's the time to schedule an appointment for a free consultation. Our office is safe and virus-free. Call 760-422-0404. That's 760-422-0404. You'll learn so much about how to resolve your elder issues. It goes beyond paying for long-term care. With the help of an attorney at the California Elder Law Center, you can avoid the expense and delays of probate. You can protect your home, your family, and your assets. The system is complicated and frankly not user-friendly. But when you work with an attorney specializing in elder law, it's all so much easier. Call 760-422-0404 for a free meeting in our safe, virus-free office. That's 760-422-0404. Online, search Cal Elder Law. That's Cal Elder Law, helping you get the care you need and deserve. The California Elder Law Center.
This is Michael McGuire. You're listening to Elder Answers. You know, over and over again, I keep running into situations. They're becoming more intense. They're becoming harder to deal with. And the pandemic has made it far more complicated than it ever was before to try to get these kinds of issues resolved. And we're always confronted with the best time to do that is ahead of time, not after the fact. I had a lovely lady was in here. They've been clients of ours for quite a while, really struggling with trying to get things taken care of. And, you know, there's so many different rules, and as rules change, and she was confronted with the issue that she's dealing with a change in behavior, a change in capacity, both physical and mental, and what a toll it's taking on her. And you must be, if you're the caregiving spouse, you must be very, very cautious about your own well-being. about how to protect yourself, about how to control this situation so that you pace yourself. And so as her spouse of 37 years has slowly drifted away into a mental fog of dementia, as Parkinson's has taken over physically, it's leaving her in a situation in which her care and needs must be addressed right along with her spouse's care and needs. He is dependent upon her physical and mental well-being in order to be preserved at home and be preserved in an environment that he longs to stay in. And it's an ongoing battle. It's an ongoing battle, and you really should take advantage of sitting down with somebody who has a level of expertise with these kinds of issues to be able to guide you through what may be an economic disaster, an emergency, what could be a dilemma for you as far as being able to physically or mentally, emotionally cope with what's going on, to get out from underneath the anxiety, to explore all the possibilities of how am I going to pay for this care? Where am I going to be able to get that kind of care? And we're dealing with a constant parade of people who are coming through our offices now who desperately need to be able to find the ability to at least express what's going on, to be able to face down the anxiety they're facing, and to come up with some solutions. Now, I can rest assured in telling you that for those that have planned ahead, that have put paperwork in place, that have empowered other people to protect them, they are far better off. And that was the case with this lady. They had come in, they'd executed documentation, so she's not going to have any of the limitations that other families who have not bothered to change, who have not bothered to create the empowerment for each other, and or if they have children, for them to be able to step up, or if they have a family friend who can step up and protect them. And I'm talking about starting off with a durable power of attorney. There's a durable power of attorney, a statutory form. It's better than nothing. The powers are listed in a way that does not expand much beyond a single short sentence, but it's better than nothing. It's something that you have. And what that document says, that upon your executing it, it becomes effective immediately upon you signing it. That's what it says on the front of the document, unless you want to change that, which you can. But having that available precludes you from having to race around town and get papers signed and get authorization from doctors. You don't need to do that. If it says in the front of the document that it's effective immediately, that means that you can immediately start to operate, both interfacing with facilities, interfacing with financial institutions, creating trust, moving assets, doing everything that's necessary to either access long-term care benefits, perhaps through a government agency, or to protect what you already have and not be destroyed financially. If it was your adult children that you had designated to handle that job, then that would work out as well. They could step into the breach and get going on this process. It's hard enough dealing with all these different institutions and entities. In all honesty, when you go into the financial institutions nowadays, is under the pretext of being extra cautious, what they're really telling you is that these institutions don't trust their own employees. That's really the bottom line. They didn't train them properly. They didn't spend any time training them. None of these people have been in that job for 20 years. And so the day that the guy who ran the savings and loan branch knew you, knew your kids, knew your story, was a neighbor, you saw him at Little League, somebody that you knew through Kiwanis, those days are over. And so you're running into people now that lack that kind of depth of experience and understanding. And so they are not trusted, not by you, they're not trusted by their employer, the bank, the management. And so as a result, they don't let them do anything. So everything's cumbersome and hard. And so if you can smooth the path for somebody trying to help you by having documents that are very expressive, very comprehensive, way beyond, for instance, the statutory durable power of attorney, but one that goes on and expands on each of those powers and adds a few along the way, then you're in a much better shape to get things done quickly and efficiently. We have a situation that came up here that's a really tough one. An individual, he has no family. He came in, we did a set of documents for him, and he chose a family friend, a person that he trusts and loves like a daughter, but she lives up in Northern California. Well, he empowered her to be his agent underneath his durable power of attorney. He empowered her to be the trustee underneath his trust and to be his agent underneath his advanced health care directive. And as a result, as his situation spun out of control, it was quite a sad story. And really what ended up happening is he started developing dementia and cognitive issues, and then he became very, very ill. Became very, very ill. And prior to him actually going into the hospital, which is where he ended up going, he was befriended by an individual who certainly qualifies for the appellation of being a scoundrel. This person convinced him to sell him his house for about half of what it was worth. They went over to an escrow. They opened up the escrow. Nothing ever got signed, thank goodness. And as a result, very shortly, while they were just getting up and going, he was whisked off to the hospital, and he was admitted to the hospital. He's there for a long stay. Now, once you have been designated as having a mental capacity issue, that's almost like having somebody having a felony record. Other facilities that are lower level of care don't want you. They don't want that kind of a person coming into their facility because they don't feel they have the ability to control that situation. So even though he was up in Yucca Valley, he was placed in an institutional environment, a skilled nursing facility over in Indio. Well, the people in Indio have been very loving and compassionate and have tried very, very difficult, and they accepted him as a resident. But now, suddenly, the person who is empowered to help him, according to the documents, shows up, and they are at a total loss. And they discover when they're trying to get his affairs in order that somebody has taken advantage of him and is trying to buy that house at a discounted price that amounts to elder abuse. And so, based upon the fact that we have documentation in place that affects that decision-making process, we're going to be able to resolve that because he took care of business ahead of time. This person who's a not even a relative, but a family friend, a concerned family friend who truly loves him and has known him since she was a little girl. She and her husband came down here. They took over everything they had to take care of. They reached out to our office because we were the ones that put the package together and got some documentation that they couldn't find. And so we were able to get control of the situation for her, for him. And so our typical strategy of protecting the assets and perhaps having somebody go into the nursing home and supplement his care, that's not going to work during the pandemic. But the fact that we can access public benefits to come up with are you ready? $10,298 a month it costs to be in a nursing home. We're going to be able to do that. We're going to be able to do that, and there's not going to be a lien on his house. We're going to be able to do that even if they do decide to sell the house now. They get rid of that evil guy and that false escrow, and they open up, and maybe they will or maybe they won't sell the house. But if they do sell the house, the proceeds will be safe. We have a strategy to hang on to those proceeds, to supplement his care, to make sure whatever days he has left in his life are going to be safe and sound, comfortable, loving, clean, respectful, and specific to his needs. And so you can't have somebody who lives 400 or 500 miles away there every day or even every weekend. That is not going to work. In this world today, it's tough enough. It's tough enough in the best of times, but in this world today, you just can't walk in and visit your loved one in a nursing home. That is no longer permissible in a pandemic. And so she can rest assured that we're on the right path now to get in control of the situation first, to run off the bad guy who's trying to abuse a senior, take advantage of and steal from them just as surely if they broke in the back window, reached into his wallet and stole cash out of his pocket. That's stealing, but we've stopped that dead in its tracks. And now we have to focus on his care. And we have to focus on her. She's the one who's responsible, and she needs to know that she's done everything she can to handle this situation properly. She needs to have the comfort of knowing that she has moved forward, executed her responsibility to him, and has made his life, however long that is going to continue to be, as peaceful, safe, and dignified as she possibly can. And she's going to be able to achieve that accomplishment because she has been empowered by him earlier to create an estate plan that focused on the issues of elder law. That's the difference between just getting something off the shelf or online.
The cost of long-term care for yourself or a loved one can be financially devastating, but you can avoid going broke. That's how the California Elder Law Center will help you. You can access long-term care benefits through the VA, Medi-Cal, and other sources. But the process of getting those benefits can be daunting. That's where attorney Mick McGuire and the California Elder Law Center come to the rescue. Whether facing a hospital stay, currently in a rehab facility, an assisted living facility, or nursing home, immediate help is available. So now's the time to schedule an appointment for a free consultation. Our office is safe and virus-free. Call 760-422-0404. That's 760-422-0404. You'll learn so much about how to resolve your elder issues. It goes beyond paying for long-term care. With the help of an attorney at the California Elder Law Center, you can avoid the expense and delays of probate. You can protect your home, your family, and your assets. The system is complicated and frankly not user-friendly. But when you work with an attorney specializing in elder law, it's all so much easier. Call 760-422-0404 for a free meeting in our safe, virus-free office. That's 760-422-0404. Online, search Cal Elder Law. That's Cal Elder Law, helping you get the care you need and deserve. The California Elder Law Center.
This is Michael McGuire, elder law attorney with the California Elder Law Center. We've been helping middle-class families for over 25 years here in California to, first and foremost, answer the initial question. And most people, when they're facing the desire to create an effective estate plan, and they're doing that for the purpose of, number one, typically they want to avoid probate. They don't want their children or their families subjected to the cost, the delay. When the cost is severe, the delay is interminable, made much worse by the pandemic and the courts being closed. And so in order to protect their family from that process and avoid probate, they're going to use a trust to create their estate plan. And that trust is designed to answer a couple of questions, is that when the time comes is, where does my stuff go? Who gets what it gets? And who needs to be protected? And can I avoid estate tax? Can I avoid taxes? And so a trust can help you with all three of those issues. First, but who's going to get what? That's, of course, going to be part and parcel of the terms of the trust itself. In addition to that, avoiding probate, because if an asset is titled in the trust, there's no requirement to go to probate. The trustee, whomever you've named, that person can take over at that point and it becomes responsible. They're a fiduciary, which means they have a responsibility to protect the interests of the beneficiaries. If you have 3 kids and 3 shares, and that's exactly what they're going to do. If you want to protect, for instance, your grandchildren, for whatever reason, or set aside a bequeath for them, that's the time to do it and to say what you want to do. And so if you need somebody that needs to be protected because there are maybe public benefits, if they received a legacy from you, that would mean they would lose their health care. Or maybe, God forbid, one of your children has predeceased you and you want to protect their children, your grandchildren. You can do that with a trust very effectively. And last but not least is the fact that, are there any taxes, whether they're property taxes or estate taxes, that can be avoided legally to the benefit of your family, then we want to make sure the trust accommodates that. So it does a lot for people. The most important aspect of it is that it provides them with a sense of peace and completion, and they've made the good effort to protect their family and each other. And that's what estate planning is all about. Elder law, as a profession, does exactly that. They do estate planning, but then they answer a different question. And that question is, what happens if I live? What happens if I live? How am I going to pay for my care, and who's going to take care of me? These are critically important issues, and they become more important in crisis. It's all academic up until the day you're actually faced with doing something. Am I allowed to do it? What can I do? What are my alternatives? And so California Elder Law Center is actively engaged in joining forces with Aging Options, an organization that will be national in scope that helps middle-class families genuinely, and accurately plan for that day. Explore all the possibilities. It's an opportunity for you to have information to carry to your financial advisor and share with him. I'm part of this community of adults that have decided we want to make sure we've crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's. It's a recommendation as far as in general how to go about doing that, to pay for the care, how to get the care. And I'm here to present to you and elicit your help to reposition, if necessary, certain assets so that you and your financial advisor can get focused and on the same page. You can create a plan that'll kick in when the time comes and you need it the most. It may be a tax issue and you can go to your CPA. It may be a care issue, so you can reach out as a member of the Aging Options community to be able to access good quality pre-screened providers of a myriad of different kinds of care. It may be providing meals. It may be a nurse practitioner. It may be an in-home care provider. It may be a memory care unit. It may be accessing veterans benefits. It may be eliciting help from Medicaid, Medi-Cal here in California to help pay the $10,000 a month bill. So all those kinds of things. And if nothing else, it gives you a place to go and ask questions. And what am I doing? And what should I be doing? And I can't remember what we said before. But you can have this conversation and share it with your family. You'll be provided with a book that will explain to you what is the role of everybody in the family that is being counted upon to help support you during this period of your life. So there's no shocks. Nobody is having something delivered to them from left field that they didn't expect. It makes everybody better at protecting you. It makes everybody better at giving you quality care. We're going to face a lot of challenges in the United States over the next few years, and not the least of which is going to be the challenges to seniors. You know, the reality for seniors in this country is that on average, 7 out of 10, 70% of us are going to need some kind of long-term care during the course of our lives. 70%. Imagine if you had the odds stacked against you like that to drive a car. You had 70% chance you're going to be in a wreck. You would never get in a car again. You have a 70% chance that your house will burn down. You'd have a fire extinguisher in every room. If you had a 70% chance of having a massive heart attack and you'd only had 5 minutes to get to the hospital to save your life, we'd all live within 2 miles of the hospital. Those kind of odds are overwhelming. The only odd that's higher than that is we have a 100% chance of passing away. Now, we're used to planning for that with a will, a trust, that sort of thing. But when it comes to facing the 70% risk of needing care, it's more nebulous. It's harder to put your finger on. It's not sure, but am I eligible? Do I qualify? What do I have to do? Do I have to do anything? What should I expect? But it's a proposition that we don't want to address until it's too late. And I've got news for you. Every day in the United States, 10,000 people turn age 65. 10,000. And that is going to continue for the next 10 years. That means there's going to be 36 million people are going to be jamming onto Medicare. There are 36 million people in the United States will be aging and moving into a phase of their life in which they're going to need care. That's 36 million people who are going to be faced with coming up with tens of thousands of dollars every month to pay for their care. And they are going to be stripped of their assets, money that they thought was going to be a legacy. But first and foremost, they were hoping that there was enough money for the both of you. So both spouses will be protected. That often does not work out. There may have been enough money to take care of one spouse. But when you start eating money at the rate of $10,000 a month, it doesn't take long to strip the spouse at home of every last dime you've put aside to take care of yourselves during this phase of your life. If that's the case, then is it the prudent thing to do to sit down and figure out what your alternatives are? Is it prudent for you to have, if you want your children to be a support in this process, that they know what you're talking about and what you're doing, that they know what their role is? Is it an idea that perhaps as time has come that if you have a question, you can, because you're part of a community of clients, that you can pick up the phone and call and ask your question, or you can even have a consultation and not be exposed to the worry about I'm going to get a bill from the attorney or from the counselor that's involved? But instead, you're going to get information about what your alternatives are, what you should be thinking about, how to go about doing what you have to do. Where should I go? Who should I call? What are my choices? Well, of course it is. Of course that's a better way of doing it. But it requires something on your part that many people are very reluctant to do. We're not talking about there's some magic document out there that saves everybody's bacon in this process. It's not a question of the document. Although you have to be honest with yourself. If somebody is charging you a nickel to get some documents done online, or don't worry, you don't have to pay the attorney, what did you expect to get for that amount of money? What did you really expect? Did you expect did you get a rush from not having to pay for good quality work, or that it's all the same anyway, so what difference does it make? Well, that's just playing games in your head. The reality is that you deserve quality planning. You deserve quality documents that are effective and cover a wide range of issues in a complicated world that's going to get more complicated. Those 36 million people joining the cohort of the retired are going to be elbowing each other out. And there's worse news than that coming your way. Much worse news. The cost of care escalates every year. The fact that it's on an average in California of $10,298 a month is that when I started doing this, I would like to share with you 25 years ago, it was $2,400 a month. Now, do you think the cost of care is going to go down or go up? Do you think the shattering economic imperative of taking care of a senior when they cannot take care of themselves is somehow going to go away? The burden is going to become lighter. You don't have to worry about it because it won't be that expensive anymore. That's a fool's errand for you. You need to be cognizant of what you can do about this now while you are in control, while you are the one who is making the decisions, while you are the one who can craft a plan both for you and your spouse and your loved ones that meets your expectations, that helps keep you in your home as long as it's physically safe, that keeps you from destroying your spouse financially by absorbing costs that you didn't have to absorb, and to make sure that you get the highest possible care that you need and deserve.
The cost of long-term care for yourself or a loved one can be financially devastating. but you can avoid going broke. That's how the California Elder Law Center will help you. You can access long-term care benefits through the VA, Medi-Cal, and other sources. But the process of getting those benefits can be daunting. That's where attorney Mick McGuire and the California Elder Law Center come to the rescue. Whether facing a hospital stay, currently in a rehab facility, an assisted living facility, or nursing home, immediate help is available. So now's the time to schedule an appointment for a free consultation. Our office is safe and virus-free. Call 760-422-0404. That's 760-422-0404. You'll learn so much about how to resolve your elder issues. It goes beyond paying for long-term care. With the help of an attorney at the California Elder Law Center, you can avoid the expense and delays of probate. You can protect your home, your family, and your assets. The system is complicated and frankly not user-friendly. But when you work with an attorney specializing in elder law, it's all so much easier. Call 760-422-0404 for a free meeting in our safe, virus-free office. That's 760-422-0404. Online, search Cal Elder Law. That's Cal Elder Law, helping you get the care you need and deserve. The California Elder Law Center.
So this is Michael McGuire with the California Elder Law Center. You know, as this pandemic has descended upon our country like a dark, dark cloud, we have been trying to accommodate each and every one of you in the best way we can. We start off with making sure that everything is safe for any kind of interaction between you and our firm. Now, the best bet is for us to oftentimes, as we have gone through this pandemic, is to make sure that if you come in for a consultation, of course, everybody has to wear a mask. We have a plastic shield that is between you and the attorney who will be meeting with you. The room has been sanitized before you come in. It is sanitized as soon as you leave. There's an air filter, a high-capacity air filter that is designed to deal with this issue in the room, turned on, protecting us as much as we possibly can. I understand how important it is, especially for seniors, to be able to sit across a table and see somebody and talk to them in person. We have had lots of conversations, however, that also incorporated your family through a Zoom meeting. Zoom can be intimidating for those who are not used to or particularly computer savvy. Your children tend to be more so, and we're able to use Zoom to interact with them. And most importantly, what you're doing is you're engaging in a mental process that says, this is an issue. Now, I have a set of documents that's maybe 10 years old. I know there's nothing in there that deals with elder law. There's nothing in there that deals with my care, because nobody even broached that subject when I got this work done. If I got it done from one of these places online, or if I got it done from the you don't have to pay an attorney, that's because you don't get the expertise that the attorney is going to provide you. This is not that there's some magic document involved. The document is not the issue, and the documents are not commodities. They are tailored specifically after years of practice in a community of collegial attorneys who are focused on accessing not just getting the money to pay for the care, but to make sure you get the quality of care. That's not something you get from some fly-by-night organization that's their premise is that you don't have to pay an attorney. They wouldn't even know what these issues are, let alone could help you with them. Nor do they have any interest in doing that. They don't want a relationship with you. They just want a quick buck, and they're on their way. And you have no idea what you're getting. But I would tell you, if you were me and you had to sit there and clean the messes up along the way, then you'd know what you're getting. Like the family who went in and got that kind of work done. And the gentleman had true siblings. He had a brother and his sister. He had no children of his own. He had a rather substantial estate. And it was his intent that his estate would go to, first to his brother and to his sister. And should they have predeceased, it was his idea that it would then go down to his nieces and nephews. Well, unfortunately, the people who don't need the attorney, who think you don't need the attorney, just pounded out some documents on a computer, and they gave all the money to the nieces and nephews and skipped the brother and sister. And so you had 8 nieces and nephews got all the money, and his siblings, who he wanted to get it, they didn't get a dime. And those are the kind of mistakes you see all the time that comes from this kind of stuff. They misspell the names, they don't have it right, they miss an issue, or the stuff is so bare bones it doesn't have the issue even addressed anyway. And so the moral of the story is, if you're going to do something, you got to do it right. And you got to do it right in terms of the relationship that it's going to engender, not just a piece of paper. The relationship is there a place I can call? I would say this year, more than any time in my career, we have had more current clients come in and want to talk about everything, to make sure they've either got it right or they want to make a certain change, to tweak their plan, to be reassured that they got it right. And this has caused so much anxiety, and they were in a position to pick up the phone, call, come in, and find out to know you're okay. Or if that's what you want to do, we're going to have to make this kind of a change. Or, yes, they did change the law, but that was contemplated in your estate plan originally, and as a result, it doesn't affect you. You're protected from that. And oh, thank goodness, I was so worried about that. I heard something or I saw something. And so those are the kind of things you want when you have a relationship with an organization that's there for you. This Aging Options is going to take that one step further. You're going to be able to access this information, and your kids will be able to access this information through a portal. You can go on. There will be a series of videos that have been created by one of the preeminent elder law attorneys in the United States. You'll be seeing his show on PBS from coast to coast coming up during this next year. And that is who your personal attorney will be, in conjunction with local attorneys that have joined the Aging Options family and are going to be in a position to be able to provide you with that quality and depth of service. In the meantime, while this is all getting ramped up, is that you want to get this right. You want to make sure, do I have everything in the trust, the name of the trust that should be in the name of the trust? Can you go over those rules with me again? What happens if I end up having to go to memory care? I didn't die, but how do we deal with that? I'm a veteran. Do I get anything? Well, you might get $27,000 a year, tax-free, but you may have to do something now, today, in order to be assured you're going to get the money tomorrow. Did you know your spouse could get money? Your spouse can get $14,000, $15,000, $16,000 a year. That's right, for their long-term care through the VA based upon your military service. Is this going to keep me out of probate? Yes. Am I going to be able to access Medi-Cal? For sure. What do I have to do? How does that work? Well, you need to know that. Your spouse needs to know that. And probably the children that you have designated to be the people who will step up and take care of you, they need to know that. Everybody says the same thing. I want to stay at home. Well, that takes money. It takes a lot of money. They also say, I don't want to go broke. Well, have you done anything about that? Have you protected yourself? Are you going to be able to access public benefits? Because that will help you a long ways towards reaching your goal of not being destroyed financially. And I don't want to be a burden on my children. I don't want to be a burden on my family. Well, you will be a huge burden on your family if you haven't addressed these issues. All we're asking you to do is spend some of your time to educate yourself, and then you can make your own mind up. You can make your decisions what you think is in your best interest. If you don't, you will pay the price. More accurately, your children will pay the price. We have a lovely lady who is a client. Her mother is the client. She has been taking care of this woman who has fallen down and shattered her shoulder. She's been to the hospital. She fell down and hit her head in the bath. She had a concussion. She bled profusely. She's in memory care. That whole process, the nightmare of what's going on and taking care of all the issues, is that she had a place to go. What should I do? Who should I be talking to? How am I going to pay for all this? We have empowered you to take care of your mother through this process. We have a way of doing this, and that will enable you to face these challenges because you have a place to come. You have a place to get in control. You have the ability to understand and be of great help to your mother during this phase of her life. And yes, she is going to need a higher level of care. And yes, it's probably not tenable that you take care of her in your home any longer. And so I have a question. I saw something on the internet. Is that true? Is this how this works? Well, maybe it is and maybe it isn't. But did you know there's more to this than just that headline? Let us explain this to you. Let us give you that information. Let us give you a resource that will help you through this process. Sometimes can I come in and and they're not saying it this way, but I need to express my anxiety and being reassured that I'm doing the right thing. I don't know how many times the spouse comes in and tells us, I'm not too sure I can keep doing this anymore. I'm getting sick myself. I'm exhausted. And that really is a concern because according to AARP, 45% of the time, the well spouse passes away first from stress. And I'm here to assure you people, if you want the definition of chaos, it's the well spouse has passed away and left the incapacitated spouse at home alone. Now ask yourself, what are your children are going to do? They need a place to go. They need somebody to talk to that's got experience and has got resources. Here, call this person. There, do that. And how about all of you out there that are alone? You don't have any family. You don't have any children. What are your plans if something happens? You will become so vulnerable like that man that I started this show off with that they tried to steal his house out from underneath him. Those are the kind of things that can happen to you. And I'm here to tell you that it happens and the bad guy gets away with it far more than we even want to think about. Mostly because there's nobody there to blow the whistle and protect you. And yet all of that could have been pushed aside and you could have had in place the ability to recognize and be safe as to how this process is supposed to take place. There could have been resources available. There could have been authority granted to individuals you trust, individuals you know. You could even have gone and enlisted the assistance of medical professionals to be your children, to keep an eye on just you, to marshal you through this phase of your life with safety and total efficiency so that you're safe. These are the kind of things that we want you to be thinking about. That's why you should pick up the phone and call our office today, 760-422-0404. 422-0404 and schedule a free consultation. You'll be so glad that you did because you'll be getting the care that you can afford and that you need and deserve, and you won't go broke doing it. This is Michael McGuire with the California Elder Law Center. Until next week, we'll see you then.
A child struggling to speak. It's often a developmental disability that can leave a child frustrated and isolated. Life-changing treatment by professional speech therapists is available at no cost to the family. It's at the Stan and Bobby Gold Right Care Childhood Language Center in Palm Desert. We need your donation. On your phone or computer, search Gold Right Care. That's Gold, R-I-T-E, Care. From the Palm Springs Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. Give a child the gift of speech.